This is the Covert Instruments Replicant. They did send me this at no cost in order for me to check it out, test it, and give them my opinions. They did not ask me to do any kind of review, just my personal opinions on their assessment. I do that for them sometimes so they can maybe consider improvements or just get general impressions. That said, they've never asked me to do a review or compensated me in any way outside of getting some cool free stuff. Let's see what's in here. Got that. Whoops. Okay, let's see what's in here. Of course, there's this warning. Please use before using this product. Important safety warning. Because in here is some woods metal. And woods metal is an alloy containing lead, cadmium, bismuth. There might be something else in there. I don't recall off the top of my head, but the big warning is the lead and cadmium. And something to bear in mind is that lead used to be in paints, in gasoline, and all kinds of things. But as it turns out, with enough lead exposure over enough time, it can cause some pretty serious health consequences. Right. That said, a small amount of lead once in a while, probably not going to add up to much. Likewise with cadmium. Cadmium used to be a common bolt plating. So if you bought some bolts, there was a pretty good chance they were coated in cadmium as a corrosion protection. But it was found that in cadmium plating factories, the cadmium would get into the water supply. And the towns nearby with enough drinking cadmium with enough exposure over enough years, it would lead to some pretty serious health consequences. Likewise, people who worked in the cadmium plating factories would breathe cadmium fumes all the time. And of course, over the years of their career, it would end up with some pretty serious health consequences. But for a small amount of lead and cadmium that you're melting at a fairly low temperature, because this alloy melts at, I think, 158 degrees Fahrenheit or something like that. It's a very low temperature melting alloy. You have very little risk of any kind of toxic exposure. Of course, the more safety precautions you take, the better off you'll be. Do it in a well-ventilated area. Don't get your hands all over it and eat it. Don't eat the little ingots themselves, everything like that. But don't feel like if you're anywhere near this stuff, you're going to get poisoned. Right? It takes exposure and time to add up. So just be reasonably careful. You're not gonna die instantaneously if you look at one of these things cross-eyed. Another interesting thing about the woods metal is the addition of bismuth. So that particular alloy has a couple of advantages. One, the low melting temperature, but two, the inclusion of bismuth. Bismuth is a sort of a rare material in that it expands when it freezes. Another common one is water, right? But most things that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, most metals shrink when they freeze. So they balance out that shrinkage with the expansion of bismuth so that you get a nearly zero net change in geometry. We've got our Sculpey putty. That's what we'll be doing our casting in. The ingots. The rubber band. They call it a spoon. You know, we're melting our metal in it and pouring it out, so I'll probably refer to that as a ladle. And this handy little case. See what's in there. Alright. It's a cool little carrying case. Right, this is a kind of our cope and drag, so to speak, in sand casting terms. So we'll put the clay in there, pinch it shut, and then we'll have a nice little casting. Then this handy dandy little tool. This is really interesting. I do love the efficiency of how this was all designed. So we'll pull our Sculpey in here, roll it out nice. This tool can be unscrewed. and you can keep a little release agent in there, a little powder, and then my understanding is that the spoon or ladle should fit nicely in there. And I think everyone by now has realized that this has got to be something close to one of those illicit activities kits. I mean, come on. But anyway, we'll be melting one of these ingots in here, pouring it in the casting after we make it. But let's not do it here. Let's go down to the labs at the Center for Really Advanced Picking Research. See you there. Alright, let's measure a couple of these little metal cubes and see what we're up against. About 10.8 grams on that one. And 10.8 grams on that one.
Adrenaline aflame, breaking barriers. Picking locks till everything drops. Get up, get ready for the sound. Dr. Hart must listen be in the ground. Picking locks, breaking chains. Wild and free, he's the master. Baby, can't you see? Hear the beat, it's pounding in your chest. Locks tremble, he's on the quest. Rage great, he opens the doors, taking over, making rules no more. In the darkness, he moves like a ghost. Every lock, no match, he's the most sleek and swift. In the depths of night, a sinister sight. Doctor Hogmaster, master of the locks and might. Hands like shadows, agile and swift. Picking locks with a dark and twisted gift. When the moon's eerie glow, he silently creeps. Unseen, unheard, as the sea sleeps. Lock after lock, he unveils the unknown. A whispering symphony of locks overthrown. In the depths of his air, secrets unfold. Doctor Hogmaster with a heart ice cold. Through the halls of darkness, his footsteps tread, leaving his mark of fear and dread. Right through the night, no stars in sight. I'm on a mission. There's no time to fight. With my nimble fingers, I'm ready to rock. Nobody can stop me, not even dawn. Not even dawn. He's the master of deceit, but I'm the queen of darkness, and I won't be beat. I'll pick his locks, break down his defense, bring him to his knees with unwounded sense. In the midnight shadows, we dance and twirl, locked in a battle, a dangerous world. Doctor Hogmaster, can't escape my I'll make him mine, temptation.
Attempt to cast best WH keyway, 7 pins, take 7,364. Oh, it worked! Oh, finally. Oh. Okay. All right. Oh. Look at that keyway. This one was tough. This one was really tough. Probably won't work a second time. That's fine. I don't care. Yeah, that 7 pins. The bitting's not too radical, but the groove here is extremely deep, and as you can see, to cast that, it has to flow into that groove past this past the parting line. So I don't know if you can. This is the one that worked at least once, and then here's some that maybe didn't work, and it was, yeah. Anyway, I thought this would be a particularly nasty challenge because first off, it's extremely paracentric. And second, these best SFIC locks are notorious for being very finicky about the bidding. So, you know, the first one I did was generic Schlage, which, you know, if you're anywhere near it, it's probably going to work out okay. But, you know, SFIC locks in general, and I know for sure the actual best branded ones are so picky about that even trying to copy one of these keys on a poorly calibrated or just a not up to shape key copying machine can be a little hairy. So anyway, yeah, that's this part of the video.